Hi, this is me. I get real. I look really tired, and I don't feel well. I I wanted to do raw food check-in. Um, Sometimes it's good for me to say it out loud because I forget and I don't really care. But people ask me, and I'm like, oh, like okay. So we had a teacher, um, and I went to medical school for naturopathy and some Chinese medicine and midwifery. And one of our midwifery teachers. Um, I don't know why they are storytellers. Um, there's technical stuff. Yeah, I go home and study it. But during class, you get through technical stuff. But didn't you? My elementary or my middle school teacher, get off on a tangent. Or my grade school teacher, get off on a tangent. And at least, I don't know if it was one or a lot of them. And by the way, I had to drink this water. Just sitting here. It's like this is. I'm in the mood for some half 3. I'm in the mood. I'm having a bad week. It's like, this is what I do. This is what I drink when I'm angry. I don't drink anything else but special mineral water. They're like, oh, everybody says they're gluten free, but you go to a party or something, like, yeah, right. You're not really gluten free. And she looks around the room and is like, no, none of us are gluten free, right? And I was like, okay, I don't know when this class was, maybe 2014 or something. And I was thinking, I haven't had gluten in so long. Now, this is the problem. You eat something, nuts or something, and you don't know if it's contaminated, you don't know if it's entered your system. I work around food, and I'm breathing stuff in from bakeries in the store, and I get sick. And I was standing by between 2 bakeries in the grocery store by one job for 6 hours, and I was getting severe inner ear pain, and sickness, and like stuffy nose, and this I was so mad. It's like whatever's in the air is triggering my immune system. So I bought these 3 raw food sandwiches, and they say they're raw, but it says it has maple syrup. So there would be these occasions where I eat something that is not 100%, basically because I feel like I can't, like I could have maybe gone to some restaurant or asked for a side salad, but I get to where I work every day, and then I'm not eating food or buying my food. And then I feel like I'm going to pass out at work, and then I feel really scared that I'm going to fall down. So I'm like, oh my God, I got to get something because there's no day off. And once in a while I have a day off, I'm on the dehydrator, which I just got one recently. So talking about, I don't know, just talking about meat, raw food. No, I was going to talk about meat, raw food, and wheat, meat, and raw food. So, and corn. I went to a weight loss group. I was 223 pounds. And like a few weeks ago, I was like 125. But then my weight jumped up 10 pounds. I don't know why. I think, well, I was eating nuts. And I had been eating nuts for years. But I think I was just getting jars of nuts and then going down and getting more. And I said, oh my God, my body's reacting. Or the nuts from Winco were, I was going like every 2 days getting 2 bags of nuts for me and my animals. I was like, oh no, maybe they got cooked, or maybe they got something that my metabolism reacted to. So when I have a 3-pound a day weight gain, I have to cut out whatever that was. So like right now, like my eyes are all swollen. So I ate these 2 like raw food sandwiches and a whole thing of kale, and I was like, am I an idiot? Like I am like a glutton right now. I was like freaking the heck out, and all week it was like I was cheating on I was gonna be like, I'm going off nuts forever. I was like eating these little bits of nuts. I wasn't buying many. I was not buying the same ones I was, and then I was not eating anything else but like 1 or 2 bananas a day and like a handful of nuts, and I was like I was running out of honey, so I was like drinking a little bit of lemonade. Then I didn't have any honey. Then I didn't have any lemons. Or I had like one half a lemon I was carrying around in my bag, and I was like, oh my god, it's gonna get moldy. It's organic. So I already like squeezed it. I'm like, this sucks. And so yesterday during my lunch break, I just went to the health food store. So I felt like I was overeating. I wouldn't be surprised if I gained 5 pounds. My face was covered with salt. My eyes are swollen. My tongue is swollen. So there's something in this food. So you can get angioedema and tongue swelling for different reasons. And when I would eat something, say from a health food store, or it said it was raw, or when I was going back and forth, like 98% raw, like I might go days with only raw, then like nibble something. And towards the end, when I was like totally weaning myself off of cooked food, I would eat something, and my tongue would be so swollen in the morning, like it wouldn't fit in my mouth. It felt like I was like, oh my god, if I had, say, someone made a salad, maybe I had nuts in it. And I was like, wait, are these raw or not? And I was like, whatever, they're hazelnuts. Oh, there's just a couple. And I would I'd start getting itchy, so I'd go like this. And then I would look down and be covered in white, thick mucus snot. And I'd be like, sometimes I'd do that. I was making a video. I was like, oh God, I gotta get a tissue. So within less than 60 seconds later, I get that reaction. And it happens every time. And then I wake up, I go to sleep that night, and maybe it happens early in the night, maybe it happens first thing in the morning, or anytime in between, and my tongue is swollen like it is right now. I'm like, oh God, what was in that food? Um, when I was not dairy free, I was eating aged cheese, and the same thing was I kind of had like this addiction problem. I was also eating raw chocolate, and I was drinking raw cocoa until recently. So when I was homeless with my kids and getting back into college to be a doctor, I had 99 cents at Wild Oats for a pound of raw popcorn kernels, organic. And so I got these popcorn kernels, and first thing in the morning, I made popcorn. I took some to lunch for lunch. Occasionally, I'd take an egg. And I'm like allergic to eggs, but I would be like, I don't know, shopping at the food pantry or whatever, or I was buying eggs. And then I would have a handful of almonds and a banana. And then we usually went to church a lot, so if I went home, I'd make more popcorn. If I went to church, I would bring an orange, and I would get something for the kids. I don't know whether it was a sandwich or we'd share cans of sardines. That was very common. And there was days that we didn't eat, and my kids got really angry, hungry. And we had to go to Taco Bell or something, like just because by the time they got home from church, we go go to school, leave at like 7:15 and not get home till 10:30. And that sucks. I hate that. And the church people would make you feel guilty, like you were going to hell because you didn't go. And then other people are like, this person doesn't go. Well, that person has to get up for work at 4 a.m. Like, who cares? They're an adult. It's like, that means they're going to get home from work and they could take a nap before church. Like, they would always make excuses for some of the white elders. And these people, like, they would totally guilt trip me, and they'd be like, there's 100 people in church. Everybody has to go. You're evil. And I'd show up, and there'd be like 6 people there, like jobless people and stay-at-home moms. And they would be in the church meeting, and then I'd always be in daycare taking care of babies. And I'm like I'm just slave labor here, and I still have my kids. And I would always I was like totally homeless, broke, eating out of food pantries, and I would have to bring snack for the children, for the other kids. They didn't ever reimburse me. I'd always bring snack. I could afford to feed myself. And so I did 99-cent popcorn. And then years later, one of the youth pastors like, did anybody tell you that you could get reimbursed for everything you buy? She's like, I do all the time. I buy all this stuff. And I was like, my God. She worked from home. Her husband worked. They talked about being poor, but they had like all this stuff. Minivans are expensive. Own their home, all this stuff. I'm like, you know, it was a triple like. I still earned it. Still had money to do to buy their kids clothes. So I was like, oh my god. Like nobody told me I was like so broke. Like they assumed because I was poor that I never contributed anything. But these kids, like, I'd buy a couple of packs of something, they'd eat every last bit. I wouldn't even have leftovers. And some of it is because, like, I brought cranberries and I'd bring, like, fruit and I'd bring, like, stuff, like, besides the animal crackers. Like, this obese lady would always bring animal crackers and they would park the kids in front of the TV. I'm like, no, we need to do music. We need to play. We need to walk around. We need to get to know each other. We need to eat something healthy. Like, I was, like, they thought I was ignorant. They never let me be lead teacher, but all of my life, my mom was a teacher and tennis coach and working on the base with Air Force kids. And all of my life, while she was alive, I was a tag along. Like I was mommy's helper. Like somehow I was always in the school with the kids, working with summer programs, being an assistant, grading papers, helping decorate part of the classroom in the fall. Like I was always there at the roller rink, helping kids, DJing, doing the skates. Like it was in the youth center, all of that stuff. Working in the snack bar. I wasn't working. I was like just helping my mom, holding crying kids. I just grew up like both parents ended up being teachers. I grew up like life was like a lesson plan. What are we going to do in the following days? And we need to do evaluation and grading and come up with fun things and tangible outdoor activities and life skills, all that stuff like that. That's how I grew up. Christmas, sometimes I'd get a big box of books and education toys and experiments. And I was like, oh my god, I was like so happy. Like it was a box of educational gadgets. And that's what I felt Christmas was. But I didn't think of it as education until I became an adult. I was just like so happy because my brain, I didn't realize it until I had my own kids. Like my brain needed to be stimulated or else I'd get into trouble. And I craved it like a cokehead would crave cocaine. I craved learning, reading, doing experiments, studying, and going to classes all the time is what I loved. I wasn't good at all the classes. So I went off corn after I started. I was doing corn chips from Wild Oats, organic corn chips, and I would do the blue ones sometimes for me. I don't know if the kids ate it. And I'd go off corn. I'd be like, I don't feel good. I'd go off corn, and then I'd crave that salty crunchiness. And I actually lost my two back teeth in West Virginia eating corn chips and tortillas. They would just break apart from the corn being so hard. So I went, and I would go a month or two off because I had read It's Not Your Fault You're Fat back in the olden days. I read that book when I was like 100 pounds of malnourished, 100 pounds, and it was one of my mom's old books. And I was amazed about the weight gain with food allergens and elimination diet. And I didn't do this, but of course, I went to medical school as a naturopath. Of course, we did elimination diet, but that book, written in the 80s, I think, was so eye-opening and so well written. And I memorized that from when I was with my ex here in Portland. And I couldn't afford to go to any doctors. And I went to one doctor once. It took me like 2 years to pay like $5 a month to pay off. And it was just like a consult. She shouldn't have even charged me. Did I go back to her? Maybe I had a consult and I had one appointment. I'm like, I can't afford to come back. But she told me I couldn't afford to come back. And the treatment I wanted from her, I would have gladly paid for instead of having surgery. But she like, you can't afford me and you don't have time to come to it twice a week. I was so mad. Anyways, when you're homeless, especially and you have health issues, you got to do what you got to do. And I felt just listen to people and do what I had to do to keep myself alive for my kids. My eyes feel so swollen shut. So I had to cut. So I would go in and I'd get a rash I'd sit in the parking lot of Wild Oats. We had to go before dark because bats come out there at no one. It's like Whole Foods now, like bats come out. And I'd go to Jack in the Box and I'd get this rash on my forehead and hives. And my daughter, when we'd get to this house, especially my daughter would be like, Mom, look in the mirror, you got a rash again, you got a rash. Like, oh, I can't eat this. So when Jack in the Box had the fruit cup, the cantaloupe and the melons, and the side salad, I would just get that. And I used to overeat. I feel like I had a dream about eating burgers. I was like, oh, I want a cheeseburger with that too. I had a dream. That means like I'm hungry or I'm like something is being triggered in my body. And then I ended up doing elimination, and I was going to doctors all the time for sore throats and swollen knees, and I thought I was preying on my knees too much. And I ended up um, finding out for myself when I refrained from drinking tap water, even filtered water, that the sore throats, the allopaths were like, you have allergies, you have allergies, you have allergies, you have allergies. But they never said anything besides that. So I had to figure it out. I kept thinking that strep throat. It was like such burning. I thought it was tap water, and I couldn't do filtered water. Everyone yells at me, you can put a filter on your tap. I was like, dude, yeah, I went from basic tap water to filtered water, and I still was getting that. 'Cause they put chemicals in there, and I studied environmental studies when I was younger, and you read what they put in there, and it's like, you might as well be drinking gasoline. Like, for people that are sensitive to these chemicals and these petrols and these detergents and these water softeners and these chlorines and ammonias. And I'm not the first one in my family. For generations, there's been severe allergies to toxins in water and topical. Like both my mom's side and my dad's side. My mom's side is like a food like they probably had food allergies, but they were like using ivory soap and stuff, and no scented detergent. And then my dad's side, it was water. So I became the canary in a coal mine, getting all of the allergens. And people try to say that was from trauma as a child. I was like, well, I had that too, so let's add that. But when you break out in hives, my mom told me the first time your grandmother held algae, you broke out in hives, and everyone uses chemicals and detergents with perfumes and sprays. And I was doing something when my son was a kid, and it was seeping through my skin, and my son would start screaming when I held him. So I had to wear long sleeves year round until I eliminated that from my ingestion. So I had to cut out corn. I cut out the water and started drinking spring water and mineral water, and the sore throat stopped. I've been having stomach aches from the Aquafina I get from work because it's like filtered. Or sometimes I was drinking reverse osmosis from Winco. Every time I lose a job, this is reverse osmosis. I don't like it very much, but it's different than the drinking water. Purified drinking water is basically tap water run through a filter that you buy in bottles, and my patients won't drink spring water. Like, it tastes salty. I was like, but you should get a filter in your house if you're gonna drink expensive tap water. But it is what it is. People scold me all the time, but going to the doctor for 10 years because you're sick and in agony, and everyone's trying to figure out, like, medical students are trying to figure out what's wrong, and tutors trying to figure out what's wrong, why you're sick all the time, and then you cut something out and it goes away, then you run out of your spring water and you get sick again the same way, but worse, because then your body's like hyper vigilant. And then I cut out corn, and then I'd eat a little bit of corn, or I'd find out like this had maltodextrin, this had this. And then I cut out wheat, but then I was doing gluten-free, and then gluten-free had tapioca, so then I was getting really sick. Oh, this is making me more sick than wheat. I cut out wheat, I lost 30 pounds pretty quick, and then that was probably first year medical school, 09. I knew wheat was a problem for me subconsciously, So the first week I lost 5 pounds. Second week I lost 5 pounds. I think it was a weight loss group. I said the only way I'm gonna lose weight is if I cut out wheat. And so um, again, I was going to. I used to get invited to stuff where my kids would, so I'd eat a little bit of this, a little bit of that, or buy the kids pizza and buy gluten free for myself, and buy a salad and take the cheese and stuff off and put it on the salad, which is actually really good. But then you have it touching wheat. So I got in a car accident in 2014. So it was basically from 2004 to 2014. I was going from like some raw to cooked, and then I was going like 50% raw, 50% cooked, 75, and then it was like 90 plus for a long time of raw food. And occasionally on holidays, I'd eat some turkey, or if I go to my relatives, I'd eat some fish pasta or something because I didn't have a choice. Like, you go through some drive-through and get to get. Like, we'd go to the beach with my kids and get like popcorn, shrimp. And I would try to peel off the outer layer. I was like, oh, I could do a fish. I can do this. But there was more raw food products in the health food store, like more snacks than there are now. That companies are not there anymore, and a lot of it is got coconut and chocolate in it. The snacks, and I don't do coconut chocolate. Anyways, there's all these things I did. My Excalibur dehydrator broke. It was supposed to have a 10-year warranty, and they tried to tell me I was going to spend $100 to replace the whole plastic part fell apart, and those are really expensive. I just tossed it in the dumpster recently. I'm like, this, I can't deal with this anymore. Um, I should have just duct taped it or something, but it would have been worth it to get it fixed. But I was mad that they wanted to charge me when it was under warranty. So I just got one for like 40 bucks at the Fred Meyer. So far it's working. So far so good. Just to have a timer on it, which sucks. And so I cut out cooked food completely. I've done it many times. I go like months. Like the first couple times I went like weeks only raw. My stomach got like super skinny. That's never happened before since then. And then when I got in the accident, my body wasn't healing. My chiropractor had been in practice like 30 years. She was freaking out because she never saw my musculoskeletal system, my nervous system not healing properly. And she was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to get on disability because this car accident." And then car accident people stopped paying, and I was paid out of pocket, and I couldn't go to any specialist. And she was flaky about referrals. Oh yeah, I'll get you that number. Well, oh, I'll get you that later. And later never came. Or they give me the referral and the people never called me back. Never answered the phone, never called me back. So I ended up saying, this is it. I'm going 100% raw. And if I hadn't eaten wheat, I had made a conscious decision sometime between then and beforehand to really not do corn wheat. Um, and I eat stuff that people at school would make, and they're like, this has garlic, and this has spices, and this has, it's made out of, I don't know, rice noodles or something. I'd eat it, and I would have this huge allergic reaction, like crazy, like mental fog. Like, it was so bad. And I was out of birth, and I was looking up garlic, salt, and different spices from Costco, and the first ingredients like maltodextrin and corn protein and this and this. I was like, oh my god, these people could be looking at the front of the label saying garlic salt. Oh, that's not a big deal, and I'm actually eating a mouthful of corn. And the last time I had popcorn, I had anaphylactic reaction, and that's how I feel right now. Like my throat's closing up from whatever I ate yesterday, and it was really bad. And I said, oh my god, I don't have an EpiPen. No one will see me as a doctor. They all say, oh, take your own treatment. Oh, why do you waste time? You're a med student. So I have my primary care physician refused. Last time I called her to make an appointment, she refused to make the appointment. I haven't gone to a doctor since. And I went to a dentist, and then we lose our health insurance in 7 days from now. And I'm like, my income is not that high that I have to lose health insurance. So I'm going to be paying a lot of money, using my rent money to pay for health insurance. And then I have $13,000 deductible, so I'm not going to go anywhere. I had to cancel my dentist appointment. But I insurance, I'm like, I don't I've never been to an eye doctor, but no one tests me. No one does yearly labs. No one does a yearly gyne exam, 3 years, pat. Like nobody, like, I'm a physician and I like make sure my patients do that stuff. And if they don't do it through me, it's because they're freaked out. They have cultural things, and I have to chart that. They're avoiding it for cultural reasons. So my knees really hurt right now. So 2014, I used the rest of the food I had in the house. Um, Accident happened in October, and it wasn't healing. So December, I said like this month or the beginning of January, it's going to be all raw, like no 98%, 100% raw, and then I had a little bit of meat, and I had been doing aged raw cheese, unpasteurized cheese, and then the Tillamook was like low heat aged cheese. So I was doing that. I had a little bit of meat that I was putting in my dehydrator and making jerky, and so I finished whatever I had the beginning of January, and then I kept to stop meat, so I was like vegetarian, but it was only the cheese and honey, and no eggs, no raw eggs. I considered it no raw. I was doing for a while. Once in a while, I was sick raw goat milk, and I was making chocolate milk, and it was really good. But then I was getting really bad stomach aches towards the end. I don't know what the farm was failing. I don't know what was going on, but I was told to take probiotics, and I couldn't take them. So I was having a severe reaction, and so I was like, I eat aged food. Aged food or raw food has enzymes. You don't cook the enzymes out that help you digest, and then because it's not cooked, you also have that flora from bacteria from the soil and from anybody touching it. So I thought the raw milk, like I could never do yogurt or like lactobacillus probiotics. Now, what I learned in medical school, studies were done. The basics for Western medicine were done on students. So that was 20-year-old white males, 24-year-old white males, upper middle class white males are the basis of Western medicine. And if you had medical students or professors doing the studies for medications, so say you have cholesterol medications or diabetic medications, those were done early on white males, upper middle class white males. So that if they were that type 2 diabetic or had cholesterol problems, maybe the professors were going in for these studies at the universities. That they put the poster up at the universities. Who's going to see the poster? Only the people in that place. They're not putting it in a grocery store. They're not putting it up at a factory. Later on in medicine, people started putting stuff up at factories and stuff. I would not say factories, but out more in public. You see stuff in the bathroom walls. We're doing a study. Still, I see stuff in the university. So what I learned was when you have certain medications, they found out, oh, these don't work on black people. And my family is still mixed, but because we're like Americans and mixed up and slavery, and mom is part Irish and all this stuff. But it's like they're finding like all of their white patients were getting results, and their black patients weren't getting results, and then they have to do some trials on someone of a different race than like upper middle class white males, and certain things for females, and certain signs of heart attack for females, and then learning as a naturopath in research classes that it's kind of like guessing what type of flu vaccine you're going to have for the next year. You're guessing what probiotics somebody's system needs, and that's based on their heritage, where they come from, like what will be passed on from their own mother and grandmothers on a generational. So I was born C-section, so I didn't get that flora, and what types of foods are you eating? Like, so your probiotics. So the probiotics you take as a supplement and the probiotics you get in yogurt may not be for, like, if I was doing 98% raw food, mostly vegetarian, just a little bit of cheese and some honey, maybe that, like, I was having severe reactions. People are like, oh, you have major gut dysbiosis. Like, the people, like, these people weren't my doctors, they were just making statements. Like, oh, have you tried this? Oh, have you tried that? I was like, no. Like, yeah, I tried it. I'm gonna be up on, like, puking for a week. Like, been there, done that. That's why I didn't pass my midwifery test that time. So I was up all night puking because I thought taking supplements and eating mushrooms was a good idea. And I ended up, someone tried to tell me, oh, that's just your nerves. I was like, I've been taking billions. It was like one of the last tests. I've been taking so many tests for years, and that was that was caused by the mushrooms and the um, supplements. As I got more whole foods, any kind of supplement, even whole food supplements, I couldn't tolerate even the coating, the capsules, vegetarian cellulose capsules. I could not handle the capsule even. So usually white people try to tell me, oh, you're not doing it right, or you need to do this. I do like been there, done that, tried it on myself, and for medical school that everything doesn't work that way. And like, I don't know. I know in my mind a picture. I can't say it right now. So I don't know if I even ate meat in 2015, but I know 2015 was a good mile marker. So weaning everything that was in the house, I ended up missing a few things. Oh, rice noodles. Oh, I love those with cheese, but on low temperature with some mushrooms and some onions. That was all like filed the back of the cupboard. Like at the time, 2015, I was like, it's done. Um, so I would have been mostly raw for maybe over a decade, but like 90% plus. But to be like there's a couple flukes with the maple syrup or some olives I thought were raw that weren't. There's a couple flukes, and I'm gonna admit to that. But I don't say, like, you see these guys on YouTube like, oh, I'm a raw foodist, and they're like, what'd you eat for breakfast? Cooked oatmeal with butter. They're like, I'm a raw food vegan, and then they're like, you just ate cooked oatmeal with butter with with dairy, but like why don't you just say like I used to say, mostly raw? And like if I had to turn the dehydrator out because I found fish jerky with worms and I got scared to keep it at 115, I turned it out to 130, then it's over 118 or 123, so it's not raw because I turned it up 7 degrees. Like I would get like, and this lady yelled at me about what a vegan is, and as a physician, you get people that say they're vegan or mostly vegan, they still eat honey, or you get people that say they're vegetarian and eat fish, but they're not like pescatarian. Like there's a vegetarian that's like, oh, I hate meat, I eat beans all the time, and she came to school with a whole chicken in her lunch, and she was picking out on it, and I was just like, didn't you say you're vegetarian? And I had all these vegetarians that were vegan, vegetarian, and you go to their house for a potluck, and they got a rack of ribs, a couple racks of ribs in the oven, and they're like, I thought you were vegan, and they're just like, I am, and I'm like, so when the lady asked, is this vegan? I go, it's like honey almonds or something, or honey, and she's like, vegans don't eat honey, and she like walked away with her nose in the air, and I was like, how many times at a grocery store when you're eating something? I had some microwavable food a couple weeks ago, and this lady was putting her nose in it. But I know you don't know what a vegan is, and I'm like, it says honey on it. Like, how many times you gone to the store and you read it said honey sauce, and you read it's fructose and sugar and corn syrup? There's no honey. There's no bee product in there. And they might say like natural flavor or something like, and there's like does not contain honey. And you're just like, why don't you read the wrapper? Like it could say vegan and it could still say honey on it. It's like kosher pork. Like sometimes there's a wrapper. Like I have some raw almonds that I had a jar I was using that one night right down there. It says this was raw almonds, and then it says our where's it? Our roasters or something. I was like, that's an oxymoron. Like, people do not understand small batch roasted. This is supposed to be 100% raw, and it says small batch roasted, and I'm like, why? Like that? Like, who does your wrapper? Like, they don't think. So when I have patients in midwifery that are vegetarian, but they're pregnant, they eat meat. They're like, oh, I've been a vegetarian for 20 years, but I have 3 kids, and it's like, I eat meat during pregnancy, so you have 20 years minus those 3 times 9 months that you ate meat, and maybe even while you're nursing. So that's why I ask, because people call themselves raw or vegan or vegetarian, and they're at home eating ribs, and so you don't know if they are going to eat ribs every weekend and be vegan, if they're going to come to my store and eat some fake honey. Like I just like state it because you might want it, you might like it, or you might try it and say my kid will eat this. You might test teeth. You can eat one bite of it and still say you're vegan and say, oh, my kid would love this, or my husband would love this, or my aunt needs this type of calories. Um, so we're gonna shift because I'm just getting riled up and angry. So I did mostly raw starting in 2004, and prior to that, I hardly ate anything because I was poor. And prior to that, I was homeless. Before I became homeless again with just my kids, I was homeless with my ex-husband. So I was eating ketchup packets and nothing else. When I was pregnant, I ate a Whopper once a month, and grass and leaves and occasional pickles with peanut butter sandwich, and an occasional can of spinach, big Popeye. And I was craving, like, we had no food and no money. So I wasn't a raw foodist or vegan, but I was not really eating. And like I said, I was pregnant with my daughter, was eating that once a month Whopper. My ex-husband liked Whopper, so we get a little bit of money from a relative once a month. So we drive to a different state and go through the drive-thru and get a Whopper burger. And so that really saved my kid's life. It kept me from dying from anemia. So I've been known to be anemic. I don't know now. So that's where I am. Change the subject. Um, and I also didn't eat much in college. So I was busy, and I had cafeteria food. I always missed it. I was in class. You don't get in the cafeteria. It's open. You don't get to eat. So I had been told I was fat when I was a kid. So then I was trying to refrain from eating as a teenager. At 128 pounds, super muscular athlete. I'd worked out every day, ran, lifted weights, swam like year round, and muscle is heavier than fat. And I had a really big butt, according to myself, to my memory, and I was embarrassed. And I had been a size 9 juniors, and I was told I was fat. And sometimes it went 9/11 because it comes like that. So when I got older, like they told me my mom is fat, I was wearing her clothes in high school, so I was 128 pounds, and she had some jeans in the roller rink. When she stopped doing roller rink, she stopped wearing jeans, and I loved them. She had Levi's button-fly women's jeans, and they were like size 10s or 12s. And everyone was saying how fat my mom was and all this stuff. And I was like 128 pounds wearing her jeans, thinking like we're both, you know, that we're both like super chunky. And then I heard so many people call me big and call her big. it was depressing, and then she got medicated and she got bigger. She did get bigger, but I think a lot of it had to do with someone calling you fat so much that you subconsciously just gain weight. But then she just started eating whole packs of cookies and whole bags of chips. But until I became away from, until I left, like as I gradually weaned and pruned myself of abusive people, I figured out, oh my God, my mom was wearing a size 10 and she was 50, 40 something, 50 years old. And she'd go to family reunions and be like, you so fat, Jackie, you so fat, what happened to you? And I was like size 9 juniors. And my waist was like so thin, but my hips were so big that I probably would have worn a size 3 if my butt wasn't so big. I had this tall, skinny white lady. She looked like a masculine, thin body. I had one of my homecoming dresses. Oh yeah, you can borrow it. And I have it. It was like a 9, and they took it in and shortened it for me. And she went to go zip it up. She could not zip it. And I was so surprised. I'm like, I'm so fat, and this dress fits me like a glove. Like it just was perfect size. And I thought for sure I'm like twice as fat as this lady. She couldn't get it past her butt, like where the first part of the zipper, she couldn't get even an inch of it. And I was so shocked because she looked so tall and slender. So I always thought that to myself, just because you have some hips. Like when I got those dresses, I never had dates, and the ladies in the wedding dress, would get like the cast off or sample bridesmaid dresses I'd used for my homecoming mom, like to like dolly me up. She was really mean, but she did like to deal with fashion. And these ladies would be like, man, these other girls, because, okay, my town was all, like, white, and there was a couple of blacks. Like, these other girls come in here, and they got these dresses, and these strapless dresses, and they don't stay up. She's like, man, you got a body. I like working with you because you have, my waist was like that, and I had breasts and hips, and she's like, these dresses stay up on you, and all this stuff. But I wish I had those dresses. And my daughter does, too. And I was like, really? I was like, she's being nice. Like because you hear your parents tell you how fat you are and your friends and guys don't like you. She's being nice. I'm fat. I'm not curvy with a body, with a female body. She's like, everyone else is like stick figure coming in here. And it's like, even they take it in, it still falls off them and they don't want the straps and all this. And no breasts. But those were the cute girls that would get all the dates and the boyfriends and homecoming court. Like, what about me? Like, oh. So I wanted to be into modeling. Just, I was told I was fat and ugly, and so back then I just thought that I'd be a fat, ugly model and pageant contestant because I was wanting to break that traditional model look and be a dark, fat, ugly model. And I never got chosen to be a model, and I never won any pageants. But I learned pageantry and how to walk and how to pose and how to stand with the swimsuit. My pictures turned out missing. I think somebody threw them away and I moved. I'm so mad. A couple pictures I had from my pageants and my contests. So I'm so sad. And I had one that my makeup was too light, and I was sad about that. Because it like in the lights it was too light. But then you grow up in a town with all white people. Where are you supposed to get makeup? But my mom was really pale, so she had no problems. So probably should have gone to the inner city to get facial makeup, whatever. My friend kept telling me, I used to put shower so I used to put on my face as powder because my face was so oily that didn't help. So I'm trying to get back into modeling and into acting, and my clinic feels like it's dead. My other jobs is pretty much minimum wage, the lowest wage that they pay for the job, and even with the education and everything. So I've been looking for other jobs, but I don't qualify being a physician as a naturopath. not having an internship for agriculture, natural resource communication, and then environmental studies. The environmental jobs you need to have, you need to get a license, and you need a boating license, or boat safety, pesticide spray, and herbicide and pesticide spray you need for the environmental jobs or the outdoor jobs, and they're mostly in Washington State or in the gorge. So I'd have to be spraying pesticides. I'm kind of against that herbicides and pesticides. But those would be government jobs. I was thinking of doing that for summer, taking the summer off of everything else. But now it's fall. So to switch gears, it's like fat, ugly, dark, acne scarred wannabe model to trying to be healthy from the inside out so that I can live long enough to see things shift so that I can be successful and not be having a glass ceiling because of my race and my demographic. And then moving from that to like the dating, and I had a really long video that I was going to post, but I don't know where it is on my computer, and it was going to be about unsexiness, and I um, I just I see couples of all shapes, sizes, colors. Mostly, I see blonde people with blonde people, Asian people, chubby, cute white people with other chubby, cute white people. Like I don't see a lot of mix. So I'm like, um, I'm like, I'll make a part two because I'm gonna go downstairs and I hear someone. But I just feel like if I had a partner, what's that people see in the dorky way I dress from my thrift store, cheap clothes, and just from a garage sale. Um, it's like